What is going on, everybody? Art Eddie here for another sports show on, as my co-host says, John Finkel says, Facebook Fridays. What's up, sir?
How you doing? Happy LOD Friday, everybody. It is a special Winter Olympics edition today.
Yeah, man. We're going to talk about what our kids' favorite Olympic sports are to watch, and we want you guys to, do it too. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know, and also too, if you're because people watch around the world. If you're watching from around the world, tell us what sport you're watching, what kids, what sport your kids are watching too, and are you watching the Olympics? That's the biggest thing. I think for me, my daughter stayed up late 2 Fridays ago or a Friday ago for the opening ceremonies and stuff like that. Do you guys take it seriously too, or no?
No, the opening ceremony is not really, but the events, yeah, I was surprised. I always am kind of, I don't know. I like watching any Olympics, so I'm into it. I was surprised the kids just there's a few things that they've latched onto. So now short track skating and things, all of a sudden I'm taping everything to make sure I don't miss the relay races and stuff that they've somehow fallen in love with. So overall, summer for sure. And this is probably the Olympics where they're old enough to actually care about them. But I'm really enjoying the things that they're getting hooked on out of nowhere. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Anthony Griffin, what's up, man? Thanks for checking in from West Michigan. Aaron says, my boys love the ski jump. There are so many different versions of the ski jump, the snowboard, and the mogul. I know there's the downhill and all that stuff, but I feel like now more than ever, and maybe I haven't been paying attention 4 years ago to the Winter Olympics before, but I feel like there's a lot of different ski jumps and snowboard jumps. I could be wrong,
Yeah, there's a lot. You know what it is? It's there's only so many things you can do on ice, and they've figured out all of them, I think, and so they just keep repackaging them as the jumping, and then it's the half pipe, obviously on snowboarding is cool, and then now they have half pipe with skis, which is also cool but different. So it's almost people sometimes make fun of swimming as it's just a bunch of different ways to get back and forth in a pool. And then you look at the mountain, it's okay, so the super G or downhill, it's all right, well, this is slalom, and then this is moguls, and then this is speed, and this is jumping. But it's all pretty cool. Yeah, I think what Michael's saying here too, the costumes of some of the skeleton guys and the bobsledders, they look like Power Rangers or superheroes, so the kids just automatically turn. And there was the one skeleton guy from South Korea who actually wore the Iron Man helmet. And man, my son was like, "Where's Iron Man? Where's Iron Man? Where's Iron Man?" And so we became a big fan of. I don't want to mangle his name and sound at all insensitive, but whatever his name was, for a few days I actually knew it, and he was really good.
Nice. Now I could be wrong here, and again, there's a lot of different events. I don't know. Did you see this one from Matthew?
No, is that a real jelly wrestling? Is that the Welch's Grape sponsored wrestling that we have, Matthew? That's out there, yeah. Smuckers, the special Smuckers all final.
Smuckers, yeah. Catherine Sears says ice skating with my boys. My daughter is again during the school nights, they it's prime time, so they'll have it at night. So we'll record it and they'll watch the next day or the following weekend and all that. There's ice. When was there ice dancing? Is this something new too?
Ice dancing, yeah, that's where it's splitting hairs. There's something that one I don't get. Ice skating, I always like the figure skating I like, but for some reason, yeah, I don't know. The disciplines of different things on ice that you can do on skates, like I said, are all interesting. But the one that I do get is the short track speed skating is maybe the greatest on ice event I've ever seen, and every year I get more and more into it.
Not the one where they push each other, right? It's
yes, no. So this is the number one Winter Olympic moment in my entire household is with the kids is the short track relay. The moment the one person pushes the other person on the butt to go faster, my son just erupts. He's pushing him on the butt. It's the greatest Winter Olympic moment ever. It's they're in these weird costumes and they're flying around, and he'll just have they pushed him on the butt yet? Are they going to push him on the? Oh, he pushed him on the butt. Right on the booty. So that's the highlight of the Finkel household is the butt pushing part of the speed skating track for the relay.
That's awesome. And that is controlled chaos. And that's something if you ever help out at your kids' schools, you'll see a bunch of kids, maybe a gym or recess, or just even if they're in the classroom of a special day, you're seeing all of these things. No one's getting hurt, but you're waiting for someone to get hit with a pencil, or in that case, get pushed over by some other people. And I think it's crazy how they do you have those gloves where they kind of
little balls on the fingers. Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, also when they fall. So last night in one of the finals, the South Korean team, which were favorites, both people fell. One of the South Korean racers knocked out the other South Korean racer, and as they're sliding towards the cushion boundary, one of them skates were up, and from the angle, I'm like, those are just 12-inch Ginsu knives, or like they could literally just decapitate their teammate as they go to the edge. So they must be worried about that. And then there's rules where whoever caused the thing gets disqualified. So like the announcer was like, this is your, gold, silver, bronze, but on further review, the fourth place person might get second. There's all kinds of, I like the chaos. And all of a sudden somebody raised a flag and it was decided that they won.
I think Johnny's feeling you with the same thing. Like the rest of the civilization,
Yes.
I could enjoy the summer games.
Yes, I agree.
I was gonna say, do you think there's more? It's harder for people to compete in the summer games than the winter games.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I think there's just so many fewer countries that actually even have these sports in the winter games, and since so many of these sports aren't even high school sports, so for just America in general, there's just so many things that are foreign to people, and you're doing it outside of high school and outside of the realm of high school. And I always have the same gripe that I do with the winter and summer, whereas you go through all these people that are competing from all these countries, and 88% of them all practice year-round and live year-round in the United States. So it's like they all, if you have to, you should compete for your country, you should actually have to live there full-time and practice there. And then we'll see where everybody does. But when you're coming to, Vail to train, and then you go ski for, another team in Europe, it's kind of like, well, you are only in Europe for like 4 days a year for the Olympics. The rest of the time you're training here in the U.S.
Nice comment. I love this fact right here. Zach weighs in. He's like, she's 3, saw the luge for the first time, went and got her an astronaut helmet,
Nice.
Laid on the couch and leaned on the turns right along with them. Got a pretty hilarious photo. That is an awesome life.
Share that, Zach. Share that to us. That's great because the same thing with the skeleton. They get that head first thing and they're lying down. It's an incredible. That they could die. They could actually die. Their heads could be smashed against ice.
That is just like they're going so, and you don't think about how fast they're going because you kind of watch it on TV and you're not there, but like you see them on like this plastic piece of like sled with, like you said, like like the rails, and all of a sudden they're just going everywhere fast.
And the announcer's like, if they top 85 miles per hour, and I'm like, that's real 85 miles per hour, just with their leading with their face. That's insane. And yes, Ellie, hockey is king for the
congratulations to the U.S. women's hockey team. If we have anybody from Canada, sorry. I know Canada, both men and women, they're kind of. Well, I mean, the Canadian women got the silver, but I think
they didn't want it though. You see that video? They got it as soon as they took them off.
Oh, really? I didn't see that.
Not happy with the silver medals. Yeah, it's a shame.
What up, Aziz? Thanks for checking out the show and curling. I love the fact that first of all, like the Russians weren't allowed to come as a country, but like you can be individuals, and then like the IOC was like, all right, cool. If everything goes right this time, no issues of like doping, you'll be fine. And then of all sports, curling.
Yeah. Well, the curl is not something for the weak. You've got to juice up if you're going to do anything for that.
I feel like even though you're more of a summer guy, Summer Olympics, I feel like you were the type of person with just your experiences throughout sports. You've curled before, right?
I have never curled before.
I'm talking about curling.
I spent plenty of time doing the curls, but not curling. I've never done it. I've never even been in a facility where they've had it. I would love to try it. I feel like it's like the bar. What's the bar game where you throw the ball down? I always forget the name of it. My friend has it. It's like that. It looks like a lot of touch, a lot of skill. I feel like I'd be much better on the broom side. I feel like I could be a sweeper, but I've never tried it.
Yeah. Also, too, I was talking with I don't know if I'm frozen or not. I was talking with my neighbors that we should get some, like in the summertime, we should get some slip and slides, right? And just have them wet, and then the sprinkler system, and then take a Frisbee, cake it on with like Play-Doh or whatever like that, then put on like some type of hook, and just do that with the neighborhood kids and the dads.
Well, it's basically, I agree. It's like when I go visit my my grandparents, or I used to visit my grandparents, and now my parents where they live, like they have shuffleboard. Like it's not different. It's the same, other than somebody in front of sweeping the ice. That's the only difference. It's basically darts for pushing darts on ice or something. I don't even know what you call it.
I love Sean's thing right here. Unless it's a ninja category, my son ain't into it.
That's understandable. I mean, they should have a ninja Olympics for us.
I haven't watched any of the Olympics. Nauman says hello. We're doing all right. Hopefully you're doing as well. Okay, they're watching curling as well.
Curling is fascinating. We have it on in our break room. There's just the Olympics on whenever it's on, like the ancillary NBC channels or whatever. And like, it's one of those things I'll go in and like get, some hot water for tea or something. And I look, and like 8 minutes later, I'm just staring at these slow moving, whatever the rocks or whatever they're called, and they're hitting something else. And it's almost mesmerizing in a way.
Do you know, like, what was that guy? The guy that does the golf for NBC is like John Flattery, right?
Dave Faraday.
David Faraday. Why am I get David Faraday? He's the one. Thank you. They were doing something along those lines about talking about where the things come from. And it's actually like is it like in Ireland or Scotland, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the shots or whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah, and like that is, I think that's like that's the only place where they make those stones or whatever. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, they have those. Salad has those Highland games you ever see where they make all they throw the tree trunk over their heads and they lift all this heavy stuff. So I'm not surprised that they would have some odd factory that makes all all the obscure sports quarterly equipment comes from one factory somewhere.
Sean, I love Sean right here snowboarding. My son makes half pipe in his living room, couch to couch. That's great.
By the way, Sean, if you're with a last name like Kingbird, I mean, your kid should be all the snowboarders have these awesome names. So keep him going, and I want to see a Kingbird on the podium at some point.
Like Red Gerard. I mean, think about these kids where they're just like, 15 through like 18 or whatever, yeah. And like this is something that they're naturally good at, and all of a sudden, like I think it was Red Gerard's like, wait a minute. I won the gold. Wait, I did? Yeah. All right, cool.
Oh, like the young, it's definitely different in summer with the youth. I mean, there's a couple swimmers occasionally or whatever that'll get in, or gymnasts that are 15, 16, 17, but there does seem to be a lot of high school level kids who, like, when they're a senior in college, are going to be like, man, it was 4 years ago that I won that gold. Wow, I was just a youngin'. I can't believe that. I can't believe I won that back in the teens.
It's funny too when like Lindsey Vonn, she won the bronze for one of the events. And it's like, yeah, she's probably done. And I think she's like, what, in her late 20s, early 30s or something?
I don't know how old she is, but she's old sports-wise, but she's like 10 years younger than us.
And it just kind of goes to show maybe they, the kids that are winning, they understand. I'm guessing that they understand the importance of the Olympics and all that, but maybe they're not putting too much like stock in it where it's like, I have to, because sometimes the older you get, they're like, this is the last chance I'm going to be able to compete. I got to do it. So just having that spirit of like, hey, I'm glad I'm here. If I don't win, at least I got a free, a good trip to, South Korea.
Yeah, I think it'd be great because like when you look at it, you look at someone especially who's been, who's 28, 30, who they've been, they can say I've been training my whole adult life for this. And if you win at 17, it's like I barely had a brain 4 years ago, and now look what I'm doing. It's amazing.
Did you going back to Red Gerard? You see his parents? Like I think his dad was like, wearing Cleveland Browns like snow cap, and like everybody on their family was like shotgunning beers. I'm like, that's pretty sweet.
Well, that's the thing. I think part of it is like the family experience, how you get to share it with people. Like there's a lot of, we're on the Life of Dad. There's so much parent support that goes into these winter sports. Not that it isn't in the summer, but like you're not fighting for ice time and you're not fighting for rink time or, having to get the skates and humping your kid to all the hockey practices in the morning or getting them up to the ski slope. Like so much of this is relying on the parents just getting the kids to where these facilities are. Plus you're uncomfortable. It's all in these cold, if your kid happens to be amazing at track, it's not uncomfortable to be like, oh, it's, sitting at, UCLA track facility. This is nice, but these are all indoor cold winter sports. So, shout out to all the parents who are making this happen for your 17-year-olds who are winning medals.
Yeah. Kind of speaking of that too, Chloe Kim, the snowboarder that won last week, there was a really cool piece that they were doing with her dad, where her dad left his gig as an engineer, just to make sure that they would like drive like I think 6 or 3 miles each. 3 hours each way, total of 6 hours, or maybe it was 6 hours each way for her to train. And I thought that was great. And I actually wrote an article at Life of Dad about it as well, so you can check that as well. We have a bunch of different new articles kind of with the Olympics and what the dads or moms in this case, and in some cases are doing. So like you said, good shout out there. Life of Dad, people, parents are making that sacrifice, and just for the parents. Not only I think parents, they want to help out their kids, but then like the biggest high for them is just seeing the kids compete in the Olympics. And if like like Red Gerard's dad saw him win the gold medal, and it's like, my son is a gold medalist. How sweet is that? Yeah,
I think there's such a balance there. I mean, I don't know if my kids are will ever have a level of talent they would ever have, and when you look at there's a point probably when the kid's like 10 or 11 where enough coaches are saying to you, okay, look, like no BS, with the right training and regimen, your kid's got a shot. And you have to make that choice, I would imagine, all those parents have, of saying, you know what, they may have that, but we're just going to kind of let them go through their normal childhood. And if they get better in a year or two, or there's the parents that say, well, let's go all in and see where this goes. And maybe a year out, it's just not happening for whatever reason. But I imagine there's a lot of strain. Like you said, parents leaving jobs or picking jobs that are around the training schedule, or having to rely heavily on a coach to facilitate their kid getting places. So it feels like much more of a team effort. I'm sure there are summer sports somebody could throw in my face where that happens, but it just feels like the winter sports, it's such a commitment. And these facilities aren't just right around the corner. The ski facilities, the half pipes, the skating rinks, the curling places, the short tracks. Like, you got to find these places and move places to do that. So I think it's a full family commitment for a lot of these sports. And so good on them every time they get on the podium, or even just get to go there and compete. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well said, man. Great conversation, everybody. We appreciate it, as always, you guys checking us out on every Friday. Coming up next month, we're going to have some cool guests. We might have someone from the former that used to play with the Braves back in the MLB, and also, too, Rudy, the actual Rudy who played at Notre Dame with that movie's that John's favorite movie of all time.
We'll see.
We're talking with the man Rudy himself, and that's going to be coming up in March. So definitely stay tuned for that. But John and I always appreciate you guys joining the show. And you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See you guys.